Well, I'll ask Jimmy Everett to come up as our first speaker.
Sovereignty! If you go back to the Second World War and the emerging politics of our community here, that was back in a time when I can remember as a kid, Namatjira was probably the only Aboriginal person that I knew anywhere else in Australia. We moved on through the 60s and the politics that came out of the 1960s here in Tasmania was joining up with a national movement of Aboriginal political statements and challenges to white Australia. In 1972, when the Tent Embassy came alive, the Tasmanian Aboriginal Centre also came alive that same year. And our achievements from those days where we had to scratch and scrabble, where Clyde Mansell didn't even have a phone in the office of the Aboriginal Legal Service. He used to have to run down the street to a public phone to develop a voice that the whole of Australia would listen to. We had to fight our way out of extinction, and it didn't take us all that long because we are very serious about being recognised and acknowledged as the living Aboriginal community of this state here, Tasmania. This is our place. We've had plenty of heroes in our past, going right back to the early invasion and the continuing illegal occupation of our country. There are so many to remember, going right back to Manalagena, Tanalabonya, right up through Tongalongata to good old Morgan Mansell in the 80s when the National Aboriginal Congress was first put together. And we've achieved so many things in our community now with our own Aboriginal school. The government talks about land handbacks, it doesn't talk about land grants, it talks about the truth in that when it agrees to handback land, that's what it is. It's a land handback. It is, if you like, a sort of a quasi-acknowledgement of our sovereignty. And this is what we've achieved ever since the post-Second World War years, and especially moving on from the 1970 Tent Embassy with all our heroes that were there, old Chicka Dixon, Foley, Harold Thomas. There were so many of them there as well. Michael Anderson. Those are the fellas that actually took on a big role in saying to white Australia, you won't squash us because we're always been here, we're always going to be here. The most important thing for us to think about here today is that this is our day of celebration. This is for us to celebrate our sovereignty. This is about celebrating our community. And this is about celebrating with all our brothers and sisters and cousins from up the Big Island there, because they're going to be at the big dance tonight. And most importantly, keep our eye on the ball. Our knowledge is sacrosanct. We must develop the safety of our knowledge in our communities because the future is based on what we know of our past. Thank you. Enjoy.
Thanks, Jimmy. Powerful words as usual.